Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The era of Tyreek Hill in Miami appears to be coming to an unexpected and dramatic close, as sources from inside the Dolphins organization suggest that the decision has already been quietly finalized behind closed doors. Rumors have been circulating for weeks about tension between Hill and the coaching staff, as well as disagreements over the future direction of the team. Insiders claim that while the public still sees Hill in the iconic aqua and orange, the real story is being written in boardrooms and offices far from the stadium lights. The whispers among insiders suggest that contract negotiations may have hit a breaking point, and that the Dolphins management has quietly started to plan for a world without their star receiver. While Hill's on-field performance has been nothing short of spectacular, scoring touchdowns and stretching defenses like few others, the off-field considerations, team culture, and long-term strategy appear to have outweighed the glittering stats. Fans are understandably shocked, given Hill's explosive plays and his reputation for being a game-changer. Yet rumors indicate that this move has been brewing for months. There are even murmurs that rival teams have already made informal inquiries, testing the waters for a potential blockbuster trade. As the story continues to unfold, social media has been buzzing with speculation and hot takes, amplifying every tiny leak from insiders, agents, and even former teammates. In a league where decisions are often made silently before they are ever announced publicly, this could mark one of the most significant and sudden shifts in Miami's roster in recent memory, leaving fans, commentators, and analysts scrambling to understand what really went down behind the closed doors of the Dolphins headquarters. Behind the scenes, multiple sources hint that the decision to part ways with Tyreek Hill was not taken lightly, involving long and intense discussions between the front office, coaching staff, and even ownership. The process, according to insiders, included careful evaluation of Hill's contract value, his potential impact on team salary cap, and projections for both offensive strategy and team cohesion in the coming seasons. There are also whispers that Hill's own preferences and ambitions were factored in, although the exact details remain murky and are being tightly guarded. Analysts familiar with the NFL landscape suggest that Miami may be preparing to pivot towards a younger core of wide receivers or even explore draft options that could offer a more sustainable long-term solution. Meanwhile, Tyreek Hill's agents are reportedly exploring every possible avenue, from trades to potential free agency destinations, although nothing has been formally confirmed yet. Fans who have followed Hill's electrifying career in Miami are left grappling with the idea that his tenure, which included some of the fastest, most unpredictable plays in recent memory, could end abruptly. The media landscape has exploded with speculation, fueled by unnamed insiders, leaks, and social media chatter, all painting a picture of a team quietly but decisively reshaping its future. Even former players and commentators are weighing in, debating whether this move reflects broader trends in the NFL or a uniquely Miami-specific strategy. As this story develops, there is a growing sense that the ripple effects will be felt across the league, influencing not only team strategies, but also how star players negotiate and secure their futures in a highly competitive market. The silence from official channels only adds fuel to the fire, as every hint and unnamed source is magnified by fans and analysts eager for insight into what could be the most talked-about roster decision of the year. Insiders also suggest that the Dolphins' decision may be partially influenced by the changing dynamics of the team's offensive playbook, which is reportedly evolving in ways that could reduce the centrality of a high-profile wide receiver like Hill. Coaching staff, according to rumors, have been contemplating a more balanced distribution of passes or a shift towards a strategy that emphasizes ground game efficiency, which might make the financial and strategic investment in Hill less justifiable from a purely tactical standpoint. Sources hint that this is not a reflection of Hill's talent, which remains elite, but rather a calculated move based on team structure and long-term goals. There are also murmurings that Hill himself may have been considering his options, perhaps expressing interest in joining a team that better aligns with his personal aspirations or offensive style. Social media speculation has run rampant, with fans debating whether Miami is making a risky gamble or a prudent decision, highlighting the high stakes involved in handling elite talent. The narrative emerging from these leaks paints a picture of a franchise making difficult but deliberate choices, balancing the desire to remain competitive in the short term with the need to sustain long-term success. Commentary from sports pundits has emphasized the shock factor of the announcement, noting that while Hill's departure may seem sudden, the signs may have been there for those paying close attention. Analysts predict that this decision could set off a chain reaction in the league, prompting other teams to reevaluate how they manage star receivers and negotiate contracts. Meanwhile, fans are left speculating on potential destinations for Hill, weighing every rumor about teams with cap space, championship aspirations, or schemes suited to his explosive speed. In the world of professional sports, where timing and optics are crucial, Miami's approach appears to be both decisive and calculated, signaling a turning point in how the franchise handles marquee talent in the future. While details remain unofficial, some reports suggest that the Dolphins are already considering contingency plans, potentially involving multiple receivers or strategic trades to compensate for Hill's absence. Rumors point to exploratory talks with other franchises, draft scouting for rising stars, and internal evaluations of existing players who could step up. These developments, although speculative, indicate that Miami's management is preparing for the possibility of a substantial shift in team dynamics. Fans are dissecting every subtle move on the roster, comparing practice reports, social media activity, and even travel schedules to infer Hill's status, leading to a frenzy of theories and predictions. There is a palpable tension in the fan base, as supporters wrestle with the notion that a player synonymous with highlight reel plays and record-breaking performances may no longer wear the Dolphins' colors. Sports media is capitalizing on the uncertainty, creating narratives that range from cautionary tales about management decisions to sensationalized takes on Hill's next potential landing spot. Some insiders emphasize that the team's decision was motivated by more than just finances or strategy, hinting at interpersonal dynamics, leadership structure, and locker room culture as contributing factors. The interplay of personal, financial, and tactical considerations underscores the complexity of high-level NFL decision-making. Meanwhile, competing franchises are reportedly observing Miami's maneuvering closely, recognizing opportunities to exploit shifts in the talent market or to engage in strategic negotiations for top-tier players. The rumor mill has reached a fever pitch, creating an atmosphere in which every leak, every cryptic comment, or even casual social media post can be interpreted as a hint of impending moves. The unfolding drama is a reminder of how professional sports blend on-field performance with behind-the-scenes maneuvering, crafting stories that captivate fans well before any official announcement is made. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? Sources indicate that discussions about TYREEK Hill's future began months ago, with whispers of discontent, contract reconsiderations, and tactical shifts forming a backdrop to what now seems to be a finalized decision. These behind-the-scenes negotiations, according to insiders, were meticulous and protracted, involving agents, executives, coaches, and sometimes even players with influence in the locker room. The nature of the talks, heavily guarded until now, suggests that the Dolphins were deliberate in weighing every possible outcome, from restructuring contracts to exploring trade options, before settling on a course of action that aligns with their broader vision. Analysts familiar with the organization point out that Miami has historically shown a willingness to make bold decisions to protect long-term competitiveness, even when that means parting ways with marquee players. Observers are speculating on potential ripple effects, not just for Miami, but across the league, as rival franchises monitor the situation to gauge their own roster and contract strategies. The tension between public perception and internal reality has created a fertile ground for rumors, leaks, and speculative reporting, fueling debates among fans, commentators, and analysts alike. Social media platforms are flooded with theories, with some suggesting blockbuster trades, others predicting free agency signings, and yet others framing it as a philosophical shift in team management. What remains clear is that TYREEK Hill's status in Miami is no longer certain, and that the organization is preparing to enter a new chapter, one that could redefine its offensive identity and long-term trajectory in the highly competitive NFL landscape. The uncertainty and secrecy surrounding this development have made it one of the most discussed potential moves of the offseason, capturing attention far beyond the Miami fan base. Even casual observers of the NFL have begun to pick up on subtle indicators of change, from Hill's social media activity to insider reports of quiet meetings and unofficial evaluations. These seemingly minor details are being scrutinized for clues, feeding a growing narrative that Miami's management is orchestrating a transition designed to redefine the team's identity and strategy. Rumors suggest that the timing of Hill's potential departure may coincide with broader organizational goals, such as clearing salary cap space, investing in future draft picks, or creating flexibility for incoming talent that aligns with a revised offensive philosophy. While no official announcement has been made, the accumulation of leaks, hints, and insider commentary has created a perception of inevitability surrounding Hill's exit. Fans, pundits, and analysts alike are dissecting every fragment of information, weighing the plausibility of various scenarios and projecting the potential impacts on both the Dolphins and the wider NFL landscape. The conversation is also shifting to Hill's career trajectory, with speculation about which teams could best utilize his extraordinary speed and playmaking ability, and whether Miami's decision will ultimately prove prudent or short-sighted. Some insiders suggest that the move reflects a philosophical change within the Dolphins' front office, prioritizing long-term stability and team culture over short-term star power. Others argue that it is a calculated gamble, one that could backfire if Hill flourishes elsewhere while Miami struggles to adapt. Regardless of the outcome, the decision appears emblematic of the high-stakes, high-pressure environment of professional football, where decisions are made behind closed doors but reverberate loudly in public discourse, influencing fan sentiment, media narratives, and league dynamics alike. The full consequences of this potential departure are still emerging, but the intensity of discussion surrounding Tyreek Hill in Miami is already reshaping perceptions of the franchise's future. Rumors point to ongoing internal evaluations, potential trade discussions, and strategic planning sessions designed to anticipate every scenario that could arise from his absence. There is a sense among insiders that while Hill's on-field contributions are undeniable, the team is focusing on optimizing roster structure, long-term financial flexibility, and cohesion among players. Fans, meanwhile, are reacting emotionally, oscillating between disbelief, frustration, and excitement about what the future might hold for the Dolphins without their explosive star receiver. Analysts suggest that the timing of the revelation, though unofficial, is strategic, allowing the team to manage media narratives, fan expectations, and potential negotiations with other franchises. The ripple effects of this story could influence draft strategies, trade markets, and player valuations across the league, highlighting how a single high-profile decision can create wide-reaching implications. Even casual observers are drawn into the speculation, contributing to a digital storm of commentary, memes, and debates that magnify every minor update. In the high-stakes environment of professional football, where perception often matters as much as performance, Miami's handling of Hill's situation is being watched as a case study in strategic decision-making under pressure. The narrative continues to evolve, with each rumor, leak, or insider hint building anticipation for the eventual official confirmation of what appears to be a seismic shift in the Dolphins' roster and philosophy. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.